what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Top Flight Podcast. You know what it is. You know what we're here to do. Back on screen today. Beautiful Austin, Texas. I'm with the boys. We got Primo in here. We got Football Critic as well. We got lots to talk about. I'm your host, Hernan. Most of you know me as H. A lot to talk about tonight here on the Top Flight Podcast. A little bit of a midweek episode, something to plug into your week. We've been in a very long break. The players needed it 100%. I mean, we saw what was going on with all those injuries with Austin FC. So I'm sure the players, the coaches, the staff, everybody, even the media that covers this team appreciates this and appreciated this break. But it does come to an end. Wednesday and Saturday, we have two derbies coming up. So, boys, how are you doing? Football Critic, I'm going to start off with you.
I'm good, H. Thank you for having me again. Really excited. A lot of soccer that happened last week, even though Austin didn't play during the weekend. A lot of soccer that is going to happen this week, so I'm excited.
Yes, mate. A lot of soccer did happen. We were keeping a close eye on our very own Dani Pereira, keeping up with the game against Honduras, Guatemala, which we're going to get into here later on in the episode. But Primo, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing all right. It's a good, what's today? Monday. And hot day, man. It's been hot.
It's been very hot, and I think tomorrow is going to be the hottest, bro. And real quick, before we get into some of the topics, Primo, I want to send a shout out to all the listeners out there that sent me a message saying like, "Hey, you made it to Barn Springs," because last episode I said that I was gonna go. I try to go one time every year, and a bunch of people hit me up. They were saying like, "Yo, you made it out. You made it out. That's cool." So shout out to everybody that tunes into the podcast. Appreciate it 100%. It means a lot that y'all tune in, and we do it for y'all. But I do want to say this though. We got 3 very nice shirts on the podcast today. I mean, Football Critic, can you show us yours real quick?
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that beauty. Look at that. Okay, so contest.
Hey.
For the people watching on YouTube, if you can vote in the comments or let us know on Twitter who has the best fit for tonight's show. Primo has the OG We're Austin TV merch shirt. Football Critic has a custom verde Austin FC jersey with the black
and
swan.
let me just flex this real quick.
Let's see.
What?
Look at that.
Ooh, I like that, Football Critic.
Bro,
Massive.
sick, bro.
But check this out. In honor of the kings of CONCACAF, the new kings of CONCACAF, I got this little beauty. What do you think about that? Little vintage.
It fits. Yeah.
What do you think about that? Little old logo. Beautiful, mate. So, listeners, let us know who has the best shirt in the comments below. I think Football Critic might have this one, but I don't know. Primo's is just simply beautiful. But all right, boys. I want to get into the podcast. Obviously, some quick Austin FC news that we got to cover. The Dallas game. By now, you're listening to this. If you follow the club very closely, you saw the tweet that came out. Austin FC said that the game was pushed back. I think the MLS pushed it back until 8:30. Not so much just an hour pushback for the Heat. It is going to be extremely hot tomorrow, so the league is just trying to take care of the players, trying to take care of the fans, most importantly. I saw some people upset. They were saying, "Oh, why'd y'all push it back?" I mean, they're just doing it for y'all safety at the end of the day. So bear with them, I guess you can say. Now, another news topic: Brian Arellano becomes the 3rd academy player to sign with Austin FC. He joins the likes of Anthony De Anda, left back. Shout out my G. Also, Micah Burton, very interesting player there in the midfield. Very creative player. Very creative. I really like to see him play. Also, unfortunately, the U17s losing PKs, 7-6 in the playoffs, and then the U15s of the Austin FC Academy, they lost 2-1. Their game as well. So bit of sad news there, but learning lessons for those young lads. Now, Football Critic, any thoughts on those recent news topics for Austin FC you'd like to comment on?
Well, I mean, I think it's actually great that we have such an actual strong DNA in our youth. The U15s, They won the Adidas Cup and they went to the playoffs.
Yep.
Sadly, didn't make it much farther, but they still did great. U17 as well. And then also FCito. I mean, FCito is, they are winning. They're second in the West. They are behind Colorado too, but no one else is catching up to FCito. So, I mean, man, we have a really good academy and a really good pool of youngsters.
Yeah, I think that's actually spot on, mate. Now, I want to say this. FCito is no FCito. We're going to have to call him Fsote. Soon here, bro. I mean, those kids are playing. Look at Primo over there laughing his ass off. Those kids are playing monsters, bro. I mean, Mazafero gets his goal. Pinu gets a freaking brace. David Rodriguez. I mean, he's making defenses look silly. He got the call up to the first team, but didn't get minutes. But Josh Wolf knows what kind of qualities that kid has, and obviously he has some first team qualities, and he's just gonna grow. A lot of these players are just gonna grow. So yeah, Fcito 4-0 win. We can talk about that real quick. Fcito 4-0 win. That was absolutely fantastic. I couldn't actually make it to the game, but as always, a bunch of fans out there. I think North End Pod was out there. Landon from the Moon Tower Pod, RB22 was posting some videos. I think Jordan was out there as well. Quick note on that game. I got a text saying like, hey, funny thing happening. It's so hot at the Austin Fcito game that the scoreboard malfunctioned and it was not keeping score. It was that hot that the scoreboard was not working, bro. Isn't that crazy? That's hot.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
That's hot. So people don't get mad if they push back the kickoff time 1 hour. The freaking scoreboards out here are freaking almost catching on fire. Calma, por favor. Calma. Primo, anything you want to comment on Fcito? I mean, Football Critic really hit it spot on. He said that we have a great academy, a great DNA. Anything you'd like to comment on them, bro?
Yeah, I 100% agree on that, man. These young kids are looking good. The Fcito games are fun to go to. If you've never been to
100%.
one, I highly recommend to go to one, bro, because they get crazy. It's exciting. These kids play very good football. So it's just really good to see them kind of develop in the playing time that they're getting, and there's some good talent out there. So it's very, very excited to see.
Real quick, I don't want to spend too much time on Austin Fcito. I mean, even though, they had a fantastic game, I do want to ask y'all this. Who would you bring up from Austin Fcito to the first team? Who would you bring up?
Easy.
Ooh.
Damien
Las. Another clean sheet. Another clean sheet, by the way.
I like that one.
Another clean sheet. But do we need a goalkeeper? We don't need a goalkeeper.
Yeah,
so Damian Laus is very talented, but I wouldn't bring him up. I mean, based off of the situation that we have right now. Who would you bring up? David Rodriguez, interesting player. Football? I got my answer.
I would have to say, I mean, Pinu had a great game. But I'm going to say JC Fodry.
CJ Fodry? Yeah, he's actually pretty tall, man. Yeah. He's actually pretty tall. That kid might be the tallest player on the team, and he's taking corner kicks all the time. So we need him in the box. And actually, when Ture took one of the corner kicks in the last game, CJ Fodry got a goal off of that. Maybe it was two games ago. But I'd like to bring up Sal Mazzaferro, bro.
Yeah.
Sal Mazzaferro has been really impressing me, mate. I mean, this kid, he got his goal. Credit to him. But I'm thinking more on the defensive side of things. Now, Kip Keller does have that first team contract. We do have to point that out. And he's probably going to be the player that Josh Wolf is going to fancy right off the bat because he does have, that first team contract. But Sal Mazzaferro is an interesting player. I think is a very interesting prospect. Obviously, he's not starter caliber, but in the CB situation that we find ourselves in, I think he would be a great addition to the Austin FC backline. Anything else, mates?
No, I mean, you're right about Laz. We don't need Laz right now because Stuber is just amazing. I'm just
don't knock on Laz though.
No. I'm just saying like MLS Next Pro is looking a little bit small for Laz.
Okay. Yes. I agree 100%. I agree with that comment. Maybe loan him out to a championship team, loan him out to a bottom table Premier League team. I think he could easily keep up out there, Robert. I mean, if Matt Turner is making it wherever he's at right now, Damian Loss, bro, I don't know. I mean, he was a Fulham player, so you don't know. He was. So we'll see what happens there. Damian Loss, though, one of the freaking superstars of that team. Absolutely fantastic kid. Oh, man, actually, grown man by now. Now, I do want to move on to the next subject, and this is going to be one of the lengthy ones. I have it right off the bat because it's important to Football Critic, to myself, Primo, Bali, and the whole Austin FC community. We saw the video that was released by Austin FC, the Dani Pereira legend. It was a very emotional video. You saw Dani as a little kid grow up and, say that he always wanted to play for La Vino Tinto. and it was just a very special video. Shout out to the Austin FC media for cooking that up. But it is the Dani Pereira call up, the segment that I want to get into next. The call up with La Vinotinto, and how did it go? It was very difficult to watch these games. Let's point that out first. I know that a lot of Austin FC fans would have liked to seen this game or the games, right? It was very difficult to find links, safe links, links that won't infect your freaking computer with viruses. But Football Critic managed to find links in both games. We were able to see Dani Pereira versus Honduras and versus Guatemala. Now, Football Critic, not only have you been following the Vinotinto Dani Pereira saga since it really began, but you've been also following Dani Pereira since he was a young player. And to see this all unfold, mate, I mean, what are your thoughts on his call up? And just real quick, how did it go in your opinion? Was it a plus, an A minus, a B plus, or a B minus for Dani Pereira?
I mean, to see him get where he's at right now, I'm just happy. This is a perfectly good example of determination, of going for what you want and working hard for it. Because Danny had to, like, I mean, let's look at this fact. Like, he was playing in Venezuela, and he said it in the video, right? He said he had opportunities in Venezuela. Now that, I mean, Venezuela is not it's a mess of a country. Their youth is not well. And he for sure should have had opportunities, but the fact that he left, the fact that he had to adapt to a new country, to a new language, and to succeed, and then not only succeed, but the fact that he got a scholarship, and then he is the first Latin American player to be picked first in the overall pick in the MLS draft. I mean,
that was massive.
Those are really huge things, and you can see all around the Venezuelan media. You can say, there are marvelous things being talked about Dani Pereira, but no one ever really bothered to look at him, right? Mostly because, for one, he plays in MLS, and a lot of people don't respect MLS the way they should. I'm not saying it's a top 5 league in the world, but they for sure just talk the league down. And then, because of his status, his problem status, he's just like, why are you going to play him? Why do I get excited if he can't even play in the long term for the national team, right? So a lot of people just didn't bother looking at him. After these couple of games, so many people were impressed. So many people were left with their mouth open and saying, we want this kid. We need him for the World Cup qualifiers. I really hope his problem gets sorted out because we really need him. And to say that this guy just played out of his mind, or maybe not out of his mind, but did really, really well in his debut, as if he had played with the national team before, as if he had been playing for 5 years in the national team, it's to say something really good.
Yes, bro. You actually hit a lot of those points spot on. Beautifully put together. I'm gonna read off some quick stats. It was even hard to get stats on these games. I mean, there wasn't anything like on SofaScore or like on like Transfer Market. It was very difficult to get anything from these matches. But what we could muster together, Dani came off the bench versus Honduras in the 1-0 victory. He played 45 minutes, really as a defensive 6. It was like they call it a 5, right? That's what you told me. And they play a double pivot 5 in the back. Well, and Dani was occupying one of those slots, yes?
There needs to be some context because both games were different. So, for starters, we don't have fullbacks. One of the fullbacks was Miguel Navarro from Chicago Fire that got injured in training before the first game. So we were out of fullbacks, neither left or right. So the first game, we had a 3-4-3 formation, which our defense is not used to, our players are not used to. And just to put this out there and tweet it out, we were playing 3 CBs. One was Leo, one was Tarek, and the second one was Julio when he has those big mistakes, right? Like that I
remember whenever you said that.
Yeah, that's how bad our defense was. So that game versus Honduras, who was better than Guatemala, it was hard defensively because the team did not know how to adapt. Because it was hard, Dani was required to play more defensively. But he was trying to play as a 6, not a 5.
If you could give him a grade for that game against Honduras in his 45 minutes where he came on, what would it be?
I would give it a solid A.
Solid A.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Now, I have here in front of me a couple tweets. These are from a couple tweets. These are from Twitter, duh, right? Just all you got to do is search up Daniel Pereira on Twitter, and you'll see just the absolute frenzy that's going on, the madness. And Primo, I want to get your take on this after I read just a couple. We have people that are verified and people that are actually verified, right? With bunch of followers. I'm sure these are the pundits of Venezuela. Javier Parra Peña, periodista, journalist. He's saying, qué bueno es Daniel Pereira, un perfil de mediocampista que necesita Venezuela para mover la pelota y organizar el equipo. De lo más destacable de esta fecha FIFA en clave vino tinto. In English, Football Critic, what is that, mate?
It's just saying that Dani Pereira is a really, really good guy that has control over the tempo of in the midfield, right? That's the biggest criticism, or not criticism, but reviews that he got. That Dani controls the tempo of the game in the midfield. If he needs to be fast, Dani can do it with 1-2 touches. If he needs to calm things down, he will get the ball and make everything just calm down. And that's exactly what he did in both games.
There's another tweet here from Miguel Santana, another journalist covering another Venezuelan journalist. He says, it's extraordinary how quiet Dani Pereira has been working and has been kind of like a player that has just came out, like a new showing, I guess is what this guy's trying to say. In his debut with La Vinotinto, he showed why he was the number one draft pick in the MLS, a player with different characteristics of grand technical ability, sacrifice, and of great defensive sacrifice. What a surprise. So, Primo, you as an Austin FC fan, mate, you see that Dani Pereira is getting all this praise, the attention that comes with national team call-ups. He's likely to see a big offer from somewhere else soon, bro. How does that make you feel? I mean, it's got to be bittersweet, Primo. Your thoughts?
For sure, man. It's bittersweet. But we all knew this was coming. We all knew it was
100%.
a matter of time. I think it's a beautiful thing that from where you came from to play for your national team and getting all this recognition from internationally, not just here in the MLS, because we all know how good of a player Daniel Pereira is. He's been recognized all over the league by different fan bases. Everyone recognizes that, so it's really awesome to see that it's reaching out internationally now, and there's no doubt that he's going to continue to get called up. Hopefully his whole situation gets fixed pretty soon. 2026 World Cup, man. Here in the United States, Daniel Pereira.
Yeah. So, next year, Copa America.
Copa America, bro. Get it right.
Year. So it's all tying together, but it's gonna be sad to see him leave. We know it's coming, but it's well deserved.
Well deserved, 100%. Hard worker, humble kid. Love him. Love his ambition to always try to be better. And I'm sure that is rubbing off on kids that are coming up in our U17s and FCito, because they honestly kind of look up to Dani. I've kind of peeped that just a little bit, but Dani is the real deal. Now, I want to talk about his jersey. Number 5, picked up that number. I wonder if it's tied to maybe one of his idols in previous league, in previous seasons, maybe like a Iniesta, like a Xavi. Were they ever number 5? I know Zidane number 5, Jude Bellingham number 5, but also, Football Critic, I want to ask you about the jersey that is going to come out soon. I know that a lot of Austin FC fans were curious about that, wondering when that was going to come out. So when can Austin FC fans get that number 5 Venezuela Vinotinto Dani Pereira jersey?
Yeah, so I said that there hasn't been an official report yet, but it's very well known. It's out there, and it's confirmed that La Vinotinto is going back to Adidas, and this partnership is going to be announced. It's set to be this week for sure. Like there's no escaping that. Probably Friday. We don't know. We don't know exact date. Probably Friday, but this week for sure. So once the partnership comes out, the shirts go on sale. They show the new design. You can for sure just look up a Dani Pereira shirt.
Question. Do you think that since it's Adidas, the same jersey sponsor as the MLS, we could maybe see some Venezuela jerseys at the Verde store?
I
Do
would
you think
assume
that'll be
so.
possible? Maybe.
I mean,
Same shirt sponsor, why not?
well, I mean,
That'd be
if you look
interesting.
at,
That'd
well,
be interesting.
actually, I wouldn't think so, because if you look at Adidas, Adidas has Argentina,
Mhm,
has Colombia,
mhm,
has Paraguay,
mhm.
has Peru, has just has 80% of South America. We have
Mhm.
jersey, and we don't see any Argentina jersey in the Verde store.
But Drusi is not being called
True,
up.
true. Yeah,
Dani
sure.
is being called up. So I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know. We can maybe see something there. Also, FC, if any of your executives is listening into the Top Flight podcast just to do your daily checkup of what we say, maybe maybe a bit of financial advice there. Put some Dani Pereira jerseys in the Verde store. I know I'll buy one. Probably 20, 30, 40, 50 other people will too. That's money right there for y'all. So
And
maybe that way
I don't,
we
I
don't
don't know
gotta
if the
raise
states,
season ticket.
but it's said that it would come out at $100, at least
I'll buy
for
it.
Venezuela.
I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I'll pay 250 for it, Football Critic. I'll pay 250 for it. I don't care. I don't care,
Okay.
dude.
Okay.
I don't care. Now let's see. Other things that I want to talk about, Dani Pereira. Obviously, his visa issues are still looming. A lot of fans from the Venezuela side, they are excited. Yes, Football Critic, and we do have to point this out, but they still are concerned with his situation, obviously with the visa and the status in the country. Now, we were listening to one of the Drink Team, right? Drink Team
Yeah.
shows. And if you'd like to check it out as well, if you fast forward minute 20, they start talking about Dani Pereira. One of the pundits, I think it was Petrocelli, Fernando Petrocelli, if I'm not mistaken, Football Critic, he says that he spoke with Dani's family
Yeah.
recently, a couple of days ago, and they said that it's still in the works, it's still in process. They can only go as fast as I guess as the government goes. You know what I'm saying? And those processes can be so long. I've heard other people from Venezuela say that the asylum seeking process can go on for years, like 5 years. So it's very interesting to see what is going to happen with Dani Pereira. But Football Critic, is there anything you can add on that? I mean, visa issues still looming. Is there hope for Dani for his situation? I mean,
Look,
you'd think that they have something in the works if they're giving him so many minutes.
look, I understand people are worried, and I mean, I would be too, considering they got to the country when Danny was 16, and he's already 22, and he hasn't gotten that sorted out yet. But I can say this: there are options. They looked everywhere. They looked under the rocks, and they took action. They saw a lot of options, and there is hope. There is reason. I cannot say much more, but there is reason to believe that there is hope for his situation to resolve. Hopefully, again, nothing confirmed, but hopefully by the qualifiers in September.
Something tells me you know more than what you're letting on, Football Critic. Something tells me that you know more than what you're letting on. But hey, you know what? I'm gonna let it be, mate. Protect sources. My G, Football Critic. Interesting info there. But for sure, I know that probably both sides are working on trying to get this
Yeah.
solved as soon as possible, right?
I mean, the national team, the coach, they want him. Well, I mean, they for sure they didn't try him out these friendlies just because, especially when they gave him one half entirely his first game, and then
Yes.
he started the second game. No, they are interested in him. They want to try him out. Yeah, obviously everything depends on on his situation, if it results or not. But hey, at least they know he's a good player they can use for the 2024 World Cup.
I want to ask you one more thing, Football Critic, before we go into one of the next topics on the Dani Pereira segment. On a scale of 1 to 10, I know you can't share everything. I know that there's things that you know that obviously because of your sources you can't reveal to everybody, right? But on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does Venezuela want Dani Pereira in their team? How much?
I'm gonna say an 8, if not 9. I mean, they
Dani
want
Pereira,
him.
this just random kid from Roanoke, from Caracas,
But here's the
8 or
thing:
9. Interesting.
he's not random. For
Of
those who
course
have
not.
followed him, he was already been in the eyes of Peckerman before Peckerman left the national team. When he left and then Bocha Batista came and took his place, he was already in the radar. they've been watching Dani. There just hasn't been any opportunity before to try him out because he can't leave the States. Now that they did, they finally tried him out, and Dani played the way he played. They for sure won him. They're just they're trying both the Austin FC pushing in the U.S. and the national team, the federation pushing in Venezuela to get all of this sorted out.
Yeah, interesting there. My G, Dani Pereira, a guy that has been impressing since a very young age. Whenever he was young, I saw that video that Austin FC dropped. It was like 12 minutes long, pretty much. I think you might have seen it as well. I sent to the group chat. You see Dani Pereira come up as like a little kid. He's playing in like these like small dirt fields. They look so fun. And then you see him kind of grow up and how he goes through high school, how he gets the college scholarship, gets that super draft call up, and how important he is for us, man. I mean, whenever you were saying that, Primo, anything that made you feel, anything that you thought?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's crazy, coming from humble beginnings and playing in dirt fields to playing for your national team. I think it'll be anyone's dream to come true.
Facts.
And for it to happen to a player that plays for Austin FC and for a player that gives everything for Austin FC is good to see. It's crazy. And again, shout out to the video team. That video was just amazing. So
it really was. I'm not even gonna lie. That was a cinematic masterpiece, I must say. Now, just real quick before we go on to the next segment, I want to just brush over this topic. Football Critic, I want to bring you in. Dani was being kind of like swapped in and out for Yangel Herrera of the Man City group, a player that belongs to the Man City group, so he's obviously talented, right? What are your thoughts on this player, and is there competition between these two guys, or is there space for everybody in that midfield? Because it's highly competitive, Venezuela's midfield. So Dani being able to just walk in and start, that says a lot because this midfield is packed. Your quick thoughts on that, mate?
I mean, Yangel is a really highly talented player. He belongs to the City group. He played in New York City FC, and he was great there. He was so great that the same thing that happened to Tati Castellanos happened to him. He got loaned to Girona, and he played well in Girona. He is a runner-up for the U20 World Cup in 2017. So this guy, and he's said to be the next Venezuelan captain. So the guy's a big deal, and he's talented. He actually scored the winner versus Guatemala in the 80th minute, right? So he is talented. Now, the way I see it is not so much that Dani
couch in the back.
Yeah.
There it is.
It's not so much that Dani will compete against him. I think they're preparing the future of the midfield for Yangel and Dani to be the owners of that midfield. There's competition, yes, because they have El Brujo Martinez from Philly, they have Cáceres Jr. from Red Bull New York, they have Junior Moreno from Cincinnati, who are top in the East, right? But we didn't see Junior Moreno that much these friendlies. Cáceres Jr. came a lot and played along with Dani for a few minutes, but he didn't have the impact that Dani had. So I think Dani can earn his spot once the captain, Tomás Rincón, who's also a midfielder, leaves this space for the young ones to take it.
Tomás Rincón, he said some things about Dani Pereira, Football Critic. What were those things, real quick?
Yeah, so Tomás Rincón, the captain for many years of La Vinotinto, played in Europe for 14, 15 years, said he
currently plays in Sampdoria, right? Sorry?
In Sampdoria, yeah. He played, out of those 14, 15 years, he played 13 in Italy, in Serie A, and he just got relegated for the first time with Sampdoria. But he did say he had never seen Dani play before. He never really truly saw a clip of him or anything. But he got really surprised at his quality, at his skill, at his tempo at the game, at the way that he played so calmly in his debut for the national team. And he said that actually the midfield of the La Vinotinto is the strongest area of the team. There's a lot of competition, healthy competition, but he's just happy that there's so many good players that can be put to use.
this could be a turning point for Venezuela. I think, this new coach, not necessarily new because there are some of the similar ideas or philosophies going into it, but this could be a, brand new start. They have Dani Pereira, the fans are excited for him. The coach even himself said that this is a player that can bring a lot to the national team. So it's really up from here. Dani Pereira, I mean, this kid has earned it, and I'm sure he's going to continue to earn his spot. He's just going to get better and better. He said that he's working on his defense in that video. You know what I'm saying? So
that was interesting. He said he's a natural 10, but then when he got to Austin FC, he got to work his defense, and since then, he's been a 6.
Yeah. Dani Pereira, what a story. My G, Dani Pereira, I love that kid, man. I mean, just how we feel, imagine how his family feels. Imagine how his brother feels. I mean, they must be over the moon with him. Imagine how, what his dad feels. I mean, just over the moon with this kid. How can you not be happy? Now, boys, I want to go into one of the next topics on the Top Flight podcast tonight, which is the Leagues Cup roundup. Now, in this break, we had a bit of a press conference, I got a press conference, maybe you could say media availability, where John Gallagher took the stage with Coach Josh Wolf, and they had the Leagues Cup trophy there. And Leagues Cup also made it to the stadium. There were some photos that came out at Q2. We saw the Leagues Cup trophy. It's an interesting trophy. It's okay. It's huge for no reason, but it's pretty. It's okay. Now
it's not aesthetic.
I guess, man. Whatever you want to say. Now in this media availability that took place, Josh Wolf dropped an interesting quote, and I'm going to read it real quick, but I want you to react to it first, man. Josh Wolf goes on to say, "It'll be a great experience to play Mazatlan and FC Juarez. We're excited by it. It's a tournament that can promote us back into Champions League again, and that's an opportunity for us as staff, players, and organization to get right back into an event that we'd like another shot at." Now, whenever we posted that quote on the We're Austin TV Instagram page, a lot of fans were saying, "Oh, well, are you going to take it serious? Oh, are we going to get embarrassed again?" Because obviously of what happened against Violet. So, Primo, you hear Josh Wolf say that he wants another shot at CCL. Number one, do you think that we can win Leagues Cup and go into CCL? Number two, do you give Josh Wolf another chance at CCL, or should it be given to another manager? Go ahead.
Man.
Loaded question. Sorry.
Loaded question. No, I don't know. It's kind of, I see ourselves coming out of the group, but winning the whole thing is, I think, reaching a bit, just a tad bit. There's so many good teams out there, man. There's so many good teams in the MLS that we would have to go through. There's so many good teams in Liga MX that we would have to go through. If we couldn't compete against Violet, I don't know. I don't see us winning that Leagues Cup. It'll be good to compete, and it'll be a good competition to set us up for the rest of the league. I think he should focus more on the league. For me, there's a better chance in winning that than this Leagues Cup, because Liga MX teams are just so tough. Our record against them isn't great, even though the matches were friendlies. We, don't really show up against Mexican teams, or the ones we faced so far. And
they were friendlies. We do got to point that out. They were friendlies. Reyes scored one. Remember that.
But as far as trying to get another shot at the CCI, he had his shot. And I think he kind of dropped the ball there. And again, if we go into the Champions League, we have to compete, man. We're not just gonna go to stroll around and play one game. You gotta compete for it, and I just don't 100%. See Joshua doing that right now.
Now, but when you say that it's going to be a tough route to the final 100%, there are some really good teams in this competition. Of course, the Liga MX and even MLS sides are going to be quality in this tournament. One of those teams that we could cross, or that we probably are going to cross if we win our group, is Inter Miami. Now, Football Critic, I want to get your take on that. Also, we're the only team that's going to play two Mexican teams in our group. they're the two weakest teams in Liga MX right now. But Josh Wolf even said, like, hey, there's no weak teams in that league. So we shouldn't underestimate them. We shouldn't call them weak because there's no weak teams in Liga MX. So, Football Critic, if we do cross Inter Miami, I mean, where do you think that the win is going to go? You think that it's going to stay at Q2 because it'll be at Q2? Or do you think that Messi FC is going to take it away? That's a really good question.
It is, and I mean, I can't really answer it till I see how the hell we beat Juarez and Mazatlan. Like,
yeah,
it all depends on our form. Like, to get that far, to get to Miami, I need to see how we beat these Mexican teams. Because yeah, they're not the strongest in Liga MX, but they're still strong. I mean, Violet wasn't the strongest out of the CCL. We did beat New Mexico, but then Chicago wasn't also the strongest in U.S. Open Cup. So Austin has this way of getting the perfect teams to play against, and they just not delivering it. So
yeah.
If you ask me, hey, we beat Juarez, we beat Mazatlan, are we gonna beat Miami? Maybe, because it's also hard. Like Messi can be the best player in the world, but hey, you need some adaptation to the team and to make a team work all around, someone. So maybe, but I don't know. It's a hard question.
We are a month away, pretty much a month away. Is June 19th tonight. The tournament is July 21st is when the first games take place. So we're about a month out, right? Now, Messi is rumored to be taking part of this tournament. There's rumors of him debuting with Miami contra Cruz Azul versus Cruz Azul. That game is July 21st at 7 p.m. So Messi could debut there. This could be a tournament that Messi takes, quote unquote, serious. They're going to be a tough team. They're going to be a real tough team. Inter Miami with Messi. I think that he changes them.
Also, apparently they
Excuse me, y'all. Messi's also, thinking about it right now.
Keep in mind, Messi's they also are adding Busquets.
Yes, they're adding Busquets as well, mate. You're right. They are adding Busquets. Now, what are your expectations for this Leagues Cup tournament? Is this a tournament that we can possibly win? Should we go after it 100%? Or should we just have a good showing and take care of the players and come back to the league and focus on getting to the playoffs? What are your thoughts on that? Starting with Football Critic.
I'm going to say definitely take it seriously because, I mean, MLS stops, right? There's nothing else to do. So why wouldn't you? I mean, a professional club doesn't just take, discards any competition if they're not playing any other one, right? So no, take it seriously, compete, do everything you can. Expectations, not really. I don't see much further than the Mazatlan and Juarez game. If we do pass, the group stage and whatever, it could be interesting. But I definitely do not see us winning the whole thing at all.
Interesting there, mate. Interesting. Primo, your take on that, brother? I mean, Football Critic with some harsh criticism maybe from Austin FC. I mean, I'm sure that there's fans out there that think that we could win this, or no? What do you think?
I don't know, man. I agree with Football Critic. I think the team does need to compete for it. I think we need to be putting out our first team players out there. Drusi definitely has to be given minutes. I would hate to see Joshua put a B lineup against these Liga MX teams. So I think we need to compete for it, build some good momentum off of it, and just continue on. I don't think we're gonna win it, but it'll be nice to get a good run, I guess.
I'm calling it right now. I don't know if y'all are ready for this. Bro. I'm calling it right now. Leagues Cup, Rigoni top scorer. Leagues Cup, Rigoni top scorer. Or maybe not top scorer. He's going to go off Leagues Cup. Mark my words, man. Rigoni is going to go off Leagues Cup for us, bro. I think this tournament is gonna suit him well. I think playing against these Mexican sides in a competitive environment is gonna be good for a lot of these players. It's gonna be a whip in the butt, bro. Straight up, it's gonna be a whip in the butt, and it's gonna show them at what level they need to be, and it's gonna show them at what level they're at. You know what I'm saying? I think I think this tournament is going to be awesome, bro. I cannot wait for Leagues Cup. I'm going to be there in every single game that I can at Q2 Stadium. And I'm hoping that my team, Austin FC, has a really good showing. I mean, Drusi, Rigoni, Dieguito Fagundes. I'm sure that those guys they're gonna have that Latin American fire just blaze up, and we're gonna go off against these Liga MX guys, bro.
But you know what I want to see?
What?
Wolf had 11 days of rest. I want to see if he took these 11 days to try to change something, to create something that works. That's what I'm interested in. Because I can tell you, yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say, yeah, the players can be on fire, but again, I need to see a system that works. If Wolf does change the way he changed when we didn't have Jersey, maybe I can have some optimism towards the cup.
Okay. Now, with that, Football Critic, I want to transition into the next topic, which is the Houston and Dallas previews. You're talking about break. You're talking about if Wolf used it the right way. We saw some players kind of chilling out, enjoying their days off. Fantastic. I love that. But Dani Pereira, kid that we just covered earlier, he had no days off. So it's going to be very interesting to see when he integrates himself back into the team and when he's actually playing. I mean, we can maybe think about Owen Wolf and his situation when he got back. He saw minutes off the bench, if I'm not mistaken. So we might see Dani off the bench maybe against Houston. But let's talk about Houston and Dallas previews. Obviously, we played Dallas first. Midweek, Wednesday, Copa Tejas matches. Very important to talk about Copa Tejas. I'm sick and tired of Brian and Bali downplaying Copa Tejas, mate. I'm here to advocate for Copa Tejas and say that we have to dominate this trophy because it means that you're the best in Texas and it means that you're beating Houston. It means that you're beating Dallas. Why would you not want that trophy? Excuse me. Why would you not want that trophy, right? So very important matches coming up. Obviously, the one against Dallas is first. Now, I do have some recent matches pulled up here of FC Dallas. We got here, one sec. Sorry about that. So recent matches, Sunday, June 11th, they lost against Portland. Wednesday, June 7th, they beat St. Louis. That was off of the weather delay, if I'm not mistaken. They lost to Nashville before that, 2-1. Lost to Sporting Kansas City, 2-1. But hey, everybody's to Sporting Kansas City. Tied against San Jose, tied against Houston. So FC Dallas maybe not coming into this game with the best of form. There is a rumor that maybe Jesus Ferreira will be ready to go. I saw some Austin FC chatter today saying that he was going to be out, and I reached out to one of my homies that covers FC Dallas, Jose. He gets on the Texas Ring of Fire. I'm gonna read his the messages that he sent me. He said Jesus Ferreira was dealing with soreness from the last 2-week stretch of games, but I think the 10-day break did him well. Right now, he's not listed on any injury report. So I think the result, in my opinion, I think the result of this game is gonna be heavy influenced by if Jesus Ferreira is going to be on the pitch or if he's not going to be on the pitch. Because last game, he did score a goal against us, although we were down 2-10 men. We were down 2-10 men, and we saw the type of celebration that he did. But Jesus Ferreira is a guy that always makes us pay. Now, Football Critic, I want to get your take, maybe your prediction, and also your thoughts on the Jesus Ferreira information that we just pointed out.
Well, I think if he doesn't play, it's a huge advantage for us because Jesus Ferreira is a really solid player for Dallas. I mean, that's the guy they look up to score. He's not the only goal scorer, but he is, the first one on the list. So if he doesn't play, definitely an advantage for us. To say that Dallas is coming to play us in not a good shape, it's not saying much because Dallas is all around is a solid team, a solid fourth place team in the West. So to say that they can lose easily or they can win easily. Not so much. So definitely need to be careful with that. We can beat them. Yes.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Don't shoot.
No, it is. I mean, you can't just say that a fourth team, a team that is in fourth place in the West can easily be beaten. I think we can beat them for sure. Honestly, really, as always, depends more on us than them.
Football Critic, you bring up the point about the standings, fourth place team. But if you look at the West, I mean, it's very tight. There's very few points that separate a position like FC Dallas in a position like Austin FC's. If we win both of these games, and Dallas probably drop points on Saturday also, we top Dallas. You know what I'm saying? So this is a very close conference, and I'm very curious to see as to what happens with Austin FC and this FC Dallas game. Score prediction, Football Critic?
I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 2-1. Let's say 2-1 Austin, just to get back at them.
2-1 Austin. Drusi, Rigoni, o Drusi Sardes? ¿Quién mete gol?
I'm gonna say Driussi Fagu.
Driussi Fagu with a comeback goal. I like that. Primo, your score prediction, your famous score predictions, mate. What is it against FC Dallas?
Against FC Dallas, I'm gonna just keep it simple. 1-0 Austin wins.
Oh, clean sheet. Wow. Clean sheet for an Austin FC that has probably struggled to keep clean sheets this season. Now, real quick, probably just a couple stats for FC Dallas here before we go into the Houston game that is going to take place. My Wi-Fi is a little bit slow right now. Oh no. Let's see if I cut off. I apologize, but yeah, FC Dallas. I don't know why my screen is not loading, but FC Dallas, their top scorer right now with 10 goals. Big ups to Jesus Ferreira, 76.7 pass rating, 2 assists, 44 shots. So very interesting right there. Now, I do want to go on to the Houston game. Houston, a team that is probably coming into this matchup in a lot better form. Maybe they're the best team right now in the Copa Tejas competition. We got to be real. They put 5 goals up against LAFC. No slouch. LAFC has been struggling, though. We do got to point that out. They put 1-0 and then 4-0, or 4-0 and then 1-0. So maybe it's a bit of a different conversation against Houston Dynamo. Between Dallas and Dynamo, I'm more concerned with the Houston game. They already proven to be better than us this season in the first 2 times that we played them. Ben Olsen has proven to have gotten the best of Josh Wolf. Now, the war is not over. The season is not over. Copa Tejas is not over. We can beat Houston, yes, but it's going to be tough. Football Critic, again, your score prediction and your thoughts going into this game.
Oh, man. Houston is going to be tough. I'm going to go 2-1 again. 2-1. No, 3-2, Austin.
High-scoring game.
Yeah, I want to see us break that seal of more than 2 goals per game.
Okay, very, very interesting. Now, Primo, I want to get your take. Same question. Your score prediction and your overall thoughts on that game coming up.
Overall thoughts on the game coming up.
Versus Houston.
3-0. Austin wins.
Okay.
Cap. Spanking.
Cap. No, bro. There's just no way. There's just no way that happens. I just don't see it happening. I mean, just real quick, some form from the Houston Dynamo.
Bro. It's
gonna be it's true. It's true. I mean, anything can happen, but Dynamo have been just on a run. Look, check this out. 1-0 against LAFC on June 14th. 4-0 against LAFC June 10th. We can go back a little further. They smacked Chicago in the Open Cup 4-1.
Keep going a little bit.
They lost to St. Louis 3-0.
Keep going a little bit more.
They lost to Vancouver 6-2. Okay, and then they beat us 2-1. So big loss there versus Vancouver. So it'd be very interesting to see if Austin FC can do something similar to that. Anything else you want to add on the Houston Dynamo game that's coming up, boys?
I just hope we win, man. I hate Houston.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Just gonna say, Copa Tejas or no Copa Tejas, we need to win those games every single season. I mean, there's no debate about
100%. 100%. Now, just real quick, some table talk. St. Louis is in first place of the Western Conference. Then we got LAFC in second. Seattle Sounders in third place. San Jose in fourth. FC Dallas finds himself in fifth place, Football Critic, with 26 points. 26 points. Dynamo with 24 in sixth place. And then we have Ross Salt Lake in seventh, Vancouver in eighth, Portland in ninth, SKC in 10th, Minnesota 11th, and our Austin FC in 12th place with 19 points. So between Houston Dynamo, 24 points, and Austin FC, 19 points, it's just 5 points right there, guys.
Yeah.
Dallas, 26, Austin FC, 19. So never mind. I said that we would top them. I don't think that was accurate information. Sorry. So let's see. We talked about Houston. We talked about Dallas, the Copa Tejas matchups. Let's get into a little bit of the Nations League talk. And I'm talking about the USA versus Canada match. Just real quick, let's just spend maybe 2-3 minutes on this game. USA wins it over Canada. The final score, what was it, 2-0?
I think it's, yeah, 2-0.
2-0, was it? No. I think it was more than that, mate. Honestly.
No, I think you're confused with Mexico.
Yeah, it was 2-0. It was 2-0.
See, honestly, I was very uninterested in that game. I was crying in a corner, y'all, when I was watching the USA versus Canada, mate, because it was just, I mean, what can you say, dude? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, what can you say, bro? But let's talk about it real quick. USA obviously beats Canada. They lift another trophy of the Nations League. You saw the players wilding out backstage. Weston McKennie drinking beer out of the Leagues Cup trophy. Balogun going live. Alfonso Davies also was in the live chat that Balogun was hosting. So that was very interesting. Yeah, Chris Richards scored in minute 12 and Full Aaron Balogun minute 34. So big ups to them. Primo, I want to start off with you, mate. This is a huge moment for them, huge milestone. You as a El Tri fan, as a Mexico fan, what kind of praise can you give them, bro?
I mean, they're good, bro. There's
they're
nothing
good. They're good.
There's nothing else to it, man. They are a good team. That new forward that they got is
El Balogun
balling out, man. That's a really good addition to the U.S. squad. He snubbed England for the U.S.
Yeah.
And so,
actually, Primo, on that, super quick, Primo, on that, I think that had a lot to do with the USA fans just flooding his Instagram comments, saying, come to USA, and putting a lot of flags. I think he did come out, or he told 29, and 29 came out on Spaces, and he said that the fans spamming his Instagram comments was a big factor in him choosing USA.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm pretty sure he sees the vision, he sees the project that they're building there, and he wants to be a part of something great. So, they're a good team, man. They're just a better team right now in CONCACAF.
Kings of CONCACAF, would you say?
I wouldn't say I wouldn't go that far.
That far, mate? They just put up a 3-piece against Mexico, and you don't want to go that far.
It's Nations League, bro.
Oh, okay. Today, Primo, it's Nations League. Tomorrow, they're lifting the World Cup. Get real, brother.
Oh, Copa Oro is coming up.
Copa Oro, maybe.
Okay. Football Critic, come on into this topic now. USA, obviously a very convincing win against Canada, even more convincing win against Mexico. Their new forward, Balogun, was, obviously a great addition. They finally have a forward. I want your thoughts on this game. And after, I'm going to ask you about the Berhalter situation because he's back. He's freaking back. So go ahead and tell me about the overall thoughts on the game, Football Critic.
About the game, I think it was great. I think Balogun was that missing piece that the US was missing. Because Ferreira wasn't it. I mean, he's an okay MLS forward, but he's not meant for that World Cup stage. And to have someone like Balogun finish the chances that Gio Reyna is going to give him, that Pulisic is going to give him, like the US just got a huge piece implemented on their team, and it's great.
Yeah.
On the Greg Berhalter thing, I don't think he should have been brought back. Not because he was one doing the wrong things, because I think it wasn't, but rather that it just showed how connected and how owned the soccer in the US is by all of these families, right? So have him back after all of that drama with Reyna, and to know that the Berhalters, the Reynas, the Wolves, the soccer is owned by specific groups of families in the US. It's a bit of a mess, and it's a business, and it shouldn't be that way. So I would have said, hey, pick someone else, pick someone that would make the US play better than they did in the World Cup, not someone that made them play the way they did, right? Because it wasn't, they got out of the group stage, but it wasn't outstanding. So I don't think it's good for them. They should have gotten a better coach, but hey, it is what it is. As of right now, without him, they're playing amazingly, and I think it's gonna continue being that way. Maybe with Greg a little bit less, but yeah.
Interesting, man. Now I'm scrolling through Twitter here, just searching up Berhalter, see what we get and the top results. There was some interesting things that were being said about Greg Berhalter, BJ Callahan. BJ Callahan, the coach of the U.S. right now, very interesting guy. Obviously, maybe somebody to keep an eye on for Austin FC. He's in the U.S. men's national team pool. I know that Anthony Precourt is a big fan of that pool. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that coach's future when Greg Berhalter, takes control of the U.S. men's national team. But for sure, a lot of fans shocked, bro, that Berhalter did get called back to USA, especially after just everything that went down, bro, because they hired a firm to go and look for a coach, spent millions of dollars to just come back to the same name, the same person, and them trying to sell it off that it's going to be a different type of regime, a different kind of camp. I mean, to me, it sounds like just a bunch of baloney. I saw a lot of people come out and say that this federation is a joke in the way that they do things, the way that they announce things, I guess, and in a lot of ways, the way that they hire people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be very interested to see what Greg Berhalter does. The graphic that the USA page posted said that this is a coach that they're going for to the World Cup. So they're giving him till 2026. Yeah. Now, mind you, this is what I was telling a couple of my buds that were watching that game with me. I was telling them how Greg Berhalter, he picked a lot of these guys. He's been working with these guys since they were very, very, very young. So he knows them better than anybody that would be able to come in. So anything else we want to add on the USA game, boys?
No,
you good?
Not really. Yep.
All right. Alrighty. Now, I want to talk about Mexico, El Tri. I put here in the notes, Mexico, El Tri in the mud. And Football Critic actually rubbed the pain in just a little bit more. He said, hey, not only is the main senior team in the mud, but some of the younger team, one of the younger team lost 4-1 to Panama in a final. So that was interesting. Now, Mexico, Coca was fired today. They fired Diego Coca today in the morning, and they appointed Jimmy Lozano. That had social media going crazy. Jimmy Lozano, a name that is known in Mexico. He was a very good player. He's been climbing the ranks as a coach. I know that he's a very interesting prospect, and he's finally getting his moment, his shot with Mexico. And I know that a lot of players are going to see him. They're going to be like, wow, this guy's a legend. It's like if Zidane were to be appointed to France. Jimmy Lozano is the Zidane of El Tri, pretty much, almost. Now, I do want to send a shout out to Danny Benz. He was calling for Jimmy Lozano, según he told me to point it out. He said that he was calling for Jimmy Lozano for a long time. Vanilla Mexican came out and he tweeted at me. He said, hey, in one of the World Cup podcasts or one of the World Cup spaces we were doing months ago, I mentioned that Jimmy Lozano would be a good coach for Mexico, and it ended up happening. Now, I also want to point out how it was the weakest entrance in United States history for Mexico against who do they play? Panama, right?
Yeah, they played in the
Panama.
They played in the Maurice Revelo tournament, which is not a FIFA tournament, but it is a really big window for youngsters. And Mexico got to the final, but they lost to Panama 4-1, I think. I don't remember the scoreline. But so here's the thing. Mexico, it's a mess. The national team, the absolute national team is a mess. The federation is a mess. And then you have youngsters that cannot beat Panama, who is from CONCACAF. I would understand losing to, France, but they actually beat France, but losing to Panama from the CONCACAF, it's worrisome. And I'm not mocking you, although I love mocking you. I'm not doing so. I'm just saying, hey, it is worrisome that your teams are in several categories and your federation is doing nothing to get Mexico back to its former glory of being one of the, if not the strongest team in CONCACAF and be a very capable team in World Cups. Mexico is not scaring anyone at the moment.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Now, they also, played Panama in the Nations League. That's the game that I was talking about. And entrance, the entrance for that game was atrocious. I mean, there was nobody in there, bro. There was nobody watching that game. It was insane how many empty seats there were at that stadium. I honestly couldn't believe it, but it's fans protesting. It's fans being fed up. It's fans saying that enough is enough. I mean, being smacked 3-0 by USA was a tough pill to swallow. I mean, they barely beat Panama with their senior team 1-0. Probably that's why Diego Coca was fired this morning. Now, Primo, I want to bring you in, mate. Is there any thoughts that you can add on, or any points you can add on to Coca being fired, Jimmy Lozano being appointed, mate? What's your thoughts on the whole situation right now, bro?
Yeah, I have a lot to say, man. When I saw that post about Diego Coca getting fired, I was thrilled. And then when I saw that they appointed Jimmy Lozano, I was just, man. I think this Gold Cup is obviously his interview. This Gold Cup is going to be what determines if this is a good pick for the national team. And I think it's what everyone wanted. You have someone that's really well respected within the federation. A lot of these young guys look up to Jimmy Lozano. So
yeah, they do.
I think we have the potential to have a really good Gold Cup, maybe even win it. I think Jimmy Lozano is just going to do great things with what he has now. We have really good players playing for the national team. I think it's just a matter of getting the right person to make them better, as not only as players, because they're already good players, but we need some kind of leadership in the team. 100%. I think obviously that's one of the main 100%. Things that was destroying us is there's no leadership within the team right now. There's no one that's able to stand up for the team right now, and I think Jimmy Lozano is going to be the perfect guy to build someone. Maybe Edson Alvarez, who's getting a lot of attention right now from European teams. We had multiple champions across Europe, so there's talent there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw that video that they came out with, pretty much saying that they're done messing around, and it was a little. It was good. It was a good little, hope of, and hopefully it gets people hyped for this Gold Cup. It got me hyped. So
okay, so it worked on you.
I think the attendance had a big impact on that. They saw
hit
that
the wallets. Hit the wallets.
Hit the wallets, man. So came out with a nice little video, gave me hope.
Okay.
And I think this can be the turnaround.
Now, real quick, the last thing that I want to say on the Mexico situation, I don't want to spend too much time on it. My favorite thing about this appointment of Jimmy Lozano is the fact that we have a Mexican coach again. Mexican coach has been crucial. It's something that I always love to have in the national team because it means that he can connect a bit better with the national team players. We've had El Tata Martino, Argentine, Diego Coca, Argentine, if I'm not mistaken. Those guys have just sold us out 100%. Now it is on the players as well. A lot of the players like Antuna should not be being called up respectfully. This guy is one of the probably one of the worst footballers I've ever seen. One of the fastest footballers that I've ever seen, but just poor level. But hopefully, just like Primo said, this is a turning point. Jimmy Lozano, an important figure in Mexican soccer, in Mexican soccer history. And just like you said, a lot of players are going to look up to him. And he's going to be a pillar in the future of Mexican soccer, 100%. And hopefully, just like you said, Primo, the federation is done messing around. Hopefully this time it's for sure, because we do need answers. We need changes quick because we should be the kings of CONCACAF. As I'm wearing this beautiful USA shirt, Mexico should be the kings of CONCACAF, 100%, not USA. Credit to USA. They're doing some fantastic work, some fantastic job out there. Now, real quick, I want to jump over the Atlantic and talk real quick about Spain. They win the UEFA Nations League over Croatia. Now, a bit bittersweet. We see Luka Modric. I think this was his last game for Croatia, if I'm not mistaken. A player that has had an illustrious career, Balón de Oro, 5 Champions Leagues, La Liga, Copa del Rey. This guy has won a lot of trophies, not with Tottenham, though. Not with Tottenham. But we see Spain win it in PKs. That was very interesting there. Now, Croatia, they were probably coming into this game maybe favorites in PKs. They've been better than Spain if you put them together, like Croatia's PKs and Spain's PKs. Spain has been terrible at PKs ever since 2018. They went out of the World Cup against Russia in PKs. Iniesta missed a PK right down the middle. I still cannot forget that moment. But Spain wins it at the end. Joselu, a player that was just signed by Real Madrid, a protagonist. Dani Carvajal, protagonist. So, Football Critic, I want to start off with you, mate. Your thoughts on Spain returning to glory?
I'm not sure if to call it glory.
I'm calling it glory, brother. We're back.
I mean, hey, glory is to have the Spain that won the World Cup, bro. Glory is
baby steps,
to have a
baby
contending.
Steps.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, Spain, great for. I mean, congratulations on winning Nations League, beating Croatia, especially because of what you said. Croatia had been amazing. Like, they were the opposite of Spain in 2018. They got to the final because of winning penalties every single game. It was ridiculous. So congrats to Spain. Good win. I'm not gonna call them, that they're back to their glory days. They're okay. They're getting there. They're playing better at least, because in the last World Cup they were a mess. So that Joselu, I think it was a one good game. I'm not sure even why Real Madrid signed him, if I'm being honest. But it's good to see some stability in Spain. Sad for Luka though.
Sad for Luka, 100%, 100%. Now, Primo, I want to ask you this, mate. We're talking about Joselu. There was a video that came out on social media of Florentino Perez signing some autographs, and fans asked him, like, Florentino, are you going to sign anybody else? Is there going to be any more signings? And Florentino firmly says, no, there's no more signings. That's it. So Jude Bellingham, Joselu, and some cuts that were made. Other than that, that's it. Now, I want to ask you, mate, if there's no more signings, are you confident that this Real Madrid team can compete against Barcelona's all-star roster? Because there are no slouches. That roster is insane. Can this team, with Joselu, Jude Bellingham, and everybody else, and no more Benz, can they compete against Barcelona's roster?
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
I hope, brother. I really do. I really do, mate. I really do.
Not only did we get Joselu, we got, some other good pickups. We got Brahim. Who had an amazing time at Milan.
Of course.
We picked up the other young guy from Rayo Vallecano that used to be our academy player. What is it? Fran Garcia.
Garcia. True. Yeah.
We're filling in, holes that we had last season, and I believe that what Florentino Perez is true. I think Joselu was our last signing. I've seen reports saying that we're gonna go for Mbappe next year, free price tag. And yeah, price tag free. So okay. I think knowing Florentino Perez and knowing how he does his things, I think that's gonna be the option right now. Joselu,
interesting.
I think is a good overall striker in La Liga.
Yeah.
We do have Rodrigo that we can play as striker, who has played striker before. Fede Valverde is still going to be on the attacking side, so I think it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
I like that, baby. Now, Football Critic, Primo's take could be labeled as biased. Some people might say, I know Brian might say that 100%. So I want to get your thoughts if this squad is going to be able to compete against the likes of Barcelona, and then take it a step further. Can they compete in Europe?
Yeah, I'm going to say no. I'm not going to say they're going to suck in La Liga. Definitely not competing for, I don't know. The DNA Real Madrid is something else. But I just don't see them competing because your fullbacks are going to be eating alive. And you don't have a solid 9 to score every single game, right? Okay. So you're going to score. You're not going to be scoreless. No, you're going to score. But you're going to be missing that definitive striker that Benzema was in every game. Joselu can score for sure, but you're going to have that. And your fullbacks, they're not it. Your fullbacks are your weakest point. and you did not address that at all. So Real
Interesting.
Madrid is never going to be a weak team at all, never. But to say that they will be dominant this season, no, I don't think so.
Interesting, mate. Very good points there. I'm not gonna lie. The fullbacks point, that's pretty true. I mean, maybe that's one of the reasons why we're being linked to Alfonso Davies. That's another little rumor there, here and there. There's some chatter, but interesting what you say, Football Critic. Now, I know a lot of Barca fans are gonna agree with that take, and a lot of Real Madrid fans may shrug a little bit whenever they hear you say that we're not gonna be able to compete. But I do want to say that the Benzema departure, the reliable source of goals, reminds me when Cristiano left. We were looking around everywhere. We were saying, well, who's gonna plug in this hole? Who's gonna score 60 goals? And Benzema stepped up. So I'm curious to see who's gonna be the guy that's gonna step up and take this team and put it on his back and say, you know what? I'm the new top scorer. I'm the new Pichichi candidate. I'm here to score goals for Real Madrid. And I'm curious to see who that player is going to be. Maybe Vini. He did pick up the new number 7, Vini. And Rodrigo is the new number 11. So, new era. Definitely a new era. No more Hazard. No more Bale. I mean, this is a new era, boys. Anything else you want to add on the Spain win, on the Mexico, obviously, disaster, or maybe the USA win, boys? Y'all good? Primo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm good. That USA versus Mexico game, man, killed me. That killed me.
You.
I'm just interested to see. I'm interested to see if Mexico's problem was really mostly 80% the coach or actual the players.
It's a mix.
You need a really good roster to say that you can beat US. Canada, not that much. I don't trust much Canada beyond Davis. But I mean, even Jamaica has a good roster, dude. So
yeah,
I want to see what Mexico has with this new coach. See what they show, because I'm not so sure it was only the coach or mostly the coach.
A lot of underperforming players and a lot of players that aren't called up. You know, these European players with certain agents get called up all the time. So it'd be very interesting to see if some real talent got called up to Mexico and not just the usual cows, as to my dad likes to say. He likes to call them cows because he doesn't like the way that they play. But boys, thank you for being here, Football Critic, my G Primo, another episode of the Top Flight Podcast. Shout out to Eric, the stat and topic contributor. Shout out to my G Brian, who's going to be editing this. Shout out to Bali, Danny Banz, Nolbis, and everybody. Scott also. Shout out my G Scott and JC. We will be, coming back with what you need to know for Dallas, I'm sure soon. And then Houston article is going to be available as well. And then be on the lookout for those running backs too. So, boys, anything else you want to say as we sign off?
Let's hope for some change on this break that we had for Austin.
Yes. Let's hope for some change, and let's hope for the League's Cup, Primo.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna have that Dallas and Houston pack ready, man, because we got to beat them.
Hey, if we win both of these Copa Tejas games, we're back. We're freaking back. Put the word out. Football Critic. I see you making that little face. We're back.
I mean, we already won 2 games, and then we thought we were back, and just saying.
Put the word out. We're back. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Top Flight Podcast. We'll see you soon. Ciao.
See ya.